Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by now. Here's JP.
All right, welcome into a Monday edition of the JP Peterson Show as we're coming to you live from our Jeeves Law Group studio here in beautiful South Howard. The great Nick Geddes from On3 Sports joining me here this morning. How you doing, partner?
I am doing good after a nice weekend. Saw you had a nice weekend getaway too to Atlanta.
I did. Yeah.
I spent Saturday in Daytona, so it looks like we both had a nice little weekend.
Nice. More racing going on?
No more racing going on. Unfortunately, I'm a week late. But there was actually racing in Atlanta yesterday. You just missed it.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah. That is not why I was there, but Atlanta is the gift that keeps on giving. So yeah, we traveled to Atlanta for the lovely Ashley's birthday this weekend, and she caught a little neurovirus, and was nice enough to give it to me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I had no idea. So last night, around the third period, as I got done with my second intermission, and I'll just be honest with you folks, I'm playing hurt today. So I may have to bolt out. We have an 8-minute John Cooper interview waiting. If I hold
on. Are you gonna be NBA star or are you gonna be NHL star with this?
I'm going full hockey, baby. That's why I'm here. So last night, around the third period, I'm like, oh, that don't feel good. Don't feel good at all. And so I was like, I don't know if it was something I ate or it was the neuro. I don't know. So went into the Cigar City Lounge and instructed everyone to stay as far away as possible because I got to get the show done, right? We got the post-game show with Brian Engblom and our producer, Jared Johnson. I'll be sitting over here as far away from you guys as possible because there's a possibility that I may have the neuro, which is going around if you don't know this. And many of you are like commiserating with me right now. And so I'm like, I think I can get through the show, though. I think I'll be able to get through. So like midway through the first segment, where thank God, Brian does most of the talking. And I'm like, oh, this is not going well. So we throw it to break, and then Cooper's coming up. And the producer tells me, the great Peter DeFee Jr. says, Cooper's 8 minutes. I'm like, yes. Now, normally he goes like 3 minutes, 3 to 4 tops. Like that's it. You say it may or less. 8 minutes. And I'm like, this is a gift from God. So we got into the Cooper thing. I set my stopwatch and I'm like, I'll see you guys in 7 minutes and 30 seconds. So off to the restroom I went where I took care of business. We'll just put it that way. And yes, came back, finished the show like only a hockey broadcaster would do. And last night was mostly hugging the porcelain throne. And I said, I got to come. I was supposed to be a media day today at Valspar. So even though it's going to rain out there, don't get to play Copperhead. I was going to try to get out there. I'm like, nah, I don't want to get anybody sick out there. I don't want to get Rondé Barber sick. So I said, I'm just going to go sequester myself in the studio because I got to follow up on the post that went viral. Over 60,000 views on the post we did on Friday or Saturday. I think it was on Friday. So I said, I got to get in there. I got to follow up. I've been talking to people all weekend long. My phone has been blowing up. So we're going to get to that here in just a second. Yeah. So we have some updates for you. Now I'll just tell you right off the top, I'm not going to give you the big name that is the lead for the group that has the lead that I've been told. But I do have some other names for you. So I just want to be clear on that. I don't want to hook you guys into anything, any false perceptions here. But we got some news for you to get to. We're going to get to Rays baseball on the field, which I think has been very interesting the last couple days. I'm optimistic that we might actually have an offense and some great players on the come. So we'll talk about that. Of course, the Lightning game last night, big 4-1 win over the Kraken. Brandon Hagel playing hurt, just like me, playing, but actually a hockey player, a real hockey player, was fantastic last night, as was Vasy, and we'll get into a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm sure Nick has a few things for you as well. So let's jump right into it, unless you want to add anything right here off the top.
Oh, I was going to say real quick, don't forget it's also NFL Combine Week, and the underwear Olympics, if you will. But I will say I wore my Buccaneers Super Bowl shirt today because it is the 5-year anniversary of Bruce Arians. I think it was at the Combine where he said, we like Jameis, but we're going to look at door number 2. And door number 2 ended up being Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. And the rest was history. Yeah. So with the Combine starting this week, I threw the Super Bowl shirt on. So I'm always looking. Nice. I'm always looking for a connection.
Nicely done. And don't forget, it was this show that called it the day after Jameis's last press conference. We called it that day. Tom Brady's going to be the next quarterback of the Buccaneers. We were scoffed at. And yes, it came to be. And the rest is history. So, and there's been some scoffing this weekend as well. So I see you out there. I know who you are. And that's okay. That's just fine. It is what we do here. Let's listen, guys. I play a couple roles here, right? I'm trying to be a entertaining radio host as much as I possibly can be. I try to give you the facts. And I've been in this market for 28 years. So I have a lot of connections. I travel in a lot of circles with some people that have a hell of a lot more money than me. I'm the broke guy. But I have a lot of nice connections and people that I know, and I depend on them to give me good information. And most of the time it's really, really good. Never perfect. We're never perfect. I don't have to explain the 90% rule to you guys again at USF, but never perfect. But we try to give you as best a feel for what I'm hearing. Okay, I'm not here to be a fact writer for the Times. That's a totally different deal. When I worked at News Channel 8, there was a totally different deal. And I tell you guys this is what I know. This is what I'm hearing. This is what I believe is fact. This is where I think things are going. As we started with this process, when let's just go back to when this deal was done in quote done in St. Pete, we're here to stay, all that BS. And we told you then, I'm not going to believe it until the shovels get in the ground. I had lots and lots of questions. And the first and foremost, there ain't no way Stu Sternberg's paying $700 million plus cost overruns. I don't believe it. I never believed it. And as we dove more into the facts, and then we got the contracts, we got the money, we dissected it with our good friends at nohomerun.com. And we told you this deal is never going to happen. It is never going to happen. And I believe that's come to fruition. If the Braves were going to do this deal, why wouldn't they have done it by now? Everybody wants to wait for the March 31st deadline. If the Rays were going to do the deal and time was of the essence, like we've been told, why wouldn't they have pulled the trigger already? Now, you could say they're trying to, get to the funding gap. I don't believe that either. Nobody wants to do business with the Rays. And this is where a lot of this information comes in. I've talked to people that are very much involved in the negotiations of what's going on here and the possible sale of the club. These, I trust these contacts. I trust these sources. They are well informed. And what I was told on Friday, actually, I was told this a couple of weeks ago. I was given a name, and I started to check in on it and started putting things together. And finally, and I told you guys this. And we told you this 3 months ago, that there was at least one group, probably two, that were trying to buy the Rays that were Tampa based, and they had the blessings of Major League Baseball. When this whole thing blew up, and Rob Manfred was talking to Chris Lotfella, talking to the city and explaining to them, pass the bonds. And they never said, remember we told you this, St. Pete Mayor Ken Welsh never said, I've been assured that this team is going to stay in St. Pete. He said, no, the Tampa Bay area. So we did the digging, and we found out that these groups were trying to buy the team, and Tampa was the desired location. Now, could this St. Pete deal go through? Could there be some crazy 11th hour financier who comes in? I don't think so, because Major League Baseball does not want the stadium in St. Pete and has never wanted the stadium in St. Pete. So Major League Baseball, Rob Manfred is set on getting one of these Tampa groups across the finish line and build in both of these groups. I'm told want to build in Tampa. The Ybor City location obviously is still there for the giving. It's no accident that Darryl Shaw has left that acreage open. He's developed other parts of the gas works area there, and he's left that parcel open for a reason, because he knew that there were some options for Tampa and the Rays to eventually build a stadium there. Now, it's not the only option, I'm told. They're going to look at everything, but first they're concentrated on getting the sale done. And forever we've said we need a knight in shining armor. We need somebody to come in here who's got deep pockets, that's connected to Tampa Bay, and can get this deal done and build a stadium in Tampa. I don't want to go through all the machinations, and I do not want the St. Pete people yelling and screaming it's St. Pete versus Tampa. It's never been about that. It's never been about that for me. I understand it is provincial for you, but it's never been about that for me. It's about where is it best? Where does it serve the fans best? Where does it serve the team best? Where can they make the most money to be competitive in the marketplace with payroll? And that's Tampa, Tampa, Tampa. It's, the old, you've heard these things a million times, 2.5, probably 2.8 million people now within a 30-minute drive, and only 600,000 within that drive at the Tropicana Field. It's just numbers. It's just demographics. And that's where the money comes from. Businesses, premium seating, and everything. And of course, it didn't hurt that all the premium seating that was available in Tampa got scooped up in a heartbeat at inflated prices. That just gives more Major League Baseball and the two prospective groups that are trying to buy the Rays more momentum into saying, yes, this is where it needs to be, and this is going to be a success. So the momentum is good. So basically, what I was told and confirmed that this lead group is very much being propped up by Major League Baseball. They're the lead group. I cannot give you the name of those people. There's another group, also Tampa-based, and I've been told Eddie DeBartolo is part of that group. He is not the lead person, but he is part of that group. And obviously, that would be a fantastic situation. Deep pockets, great owner, own the 49ers, knows how to win, great Tampa person, can't get any better. And in both of these groups, I think have an opportunity, but Major League Baseball, I think, is supporting the other group more. That's what I've been told, because they think that deal can get done quicker and better. But I think it is still, and of course, Stu has, the final say on who buys the team, right? Now, I'm also told that he wants a lot of money for the team. It's worth $1.2 billion, according to Forbes. Now, their valuations are typically about 20% under what teams sell for. We saw it with the Orioles. It sold for 1.7. Actually, they were very close on that valuation. Major League Baseball being dropped by ESPN, or Major League Baseball dropping ESPN, however you want to look at that. I don't think that inflates the number at all. I don't think it hurts the number. It's just a new, landscape that they're going to have to deal with to get more local TV revenue. But the bottom line is we have two groups that are very serious, that are very well funded, that Major League Baseball wants to get a sale done as soon as possible to move this stadium forward. And so the biggest change is we've got really what I call elite people leading these groups, and the one that is so-called favored in the beginning, really elite. And when I am able to give those names, because I don't want to screw up the deal, and I want to make sure, and I don't want to lose their trust either, because they've given me all this information. So I want to make sure that the people that are in this deal trust me, and that goes for at some point those names are going to have to be revealed, and hopefully I will be the one to do that. But somebody might scoop me, who knows? But I'm not. I could tell you, but I don't want to screw up the deal. I don't want to screw up the deal. To me, the number one thing is doing this right for Tampa Bay, for Rays fans. This has never been, about me wanting it in Hillsborough. I've lived in Pinellas and Hillsborough County. I think they're both incredible and they're amazing. But the St. Pete has an electric downtown. It doesn't need baseball. In fact, they'll be way better off without it. And Mayor Welch has said he is fully prepared to go forward with redeveloping the Trop without the Rays. He understands that now. And that's a good thing. I think it's great for the people of St. Pete, instead of spending $2.6 billion to keep the Rays here, because that's what the cost would have been to the taxpayers in total, with interest and everything else that you're losing. They're going to make money on it by developing it and having developers pay for infrastructure, which is what they usually do and weren't doing in this deal, and buying the property instead of giving it away to the Rays. So for the people of St. Pete, do not fret. You can still go see Rays games, but you're not going to get boondoggled by Stu Sternberg. So that's a good thing. And the best thing is this thing will finally get done right. And we'll have a stadium in the middle of the market where baseball has been part of the fabric of Tampa Bay for over 100 years. And that's doing it right. And that's what we've always talked about. Now, as far as the timeline goes, unfortunately, I think it still very much is in Stu's hands, because as much as Major League Baseball can squeeze Stu and encourage him in a lot of different ways to sell the team, it's still a transaction, and he's still got to get a price. So, and it's very complicated, obviously. Now, people have asked me, and I'm going to try to go through a lot of the questions that I've got on social media over the past 48 hours. They've said, can the St. Pete deal be part of it with the new owner? It can be, I'm told, but both of these groups would rather build in Tampa. So I just don't think that's going to be and Major League Baseball, again, does not want it in St. Petersburg for all those reasons. So timeline, I don't know. I think shortly after the deadline, March 31st, I would hope that could be done, but I'm not going to stick to it because with Stu, you never know. And folks, I just want to also, kind of underscore this. And because there's the blame game and people saying, oh, Tampa doesn't have any money and blah, 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 blah. Tampa has money. Tampa has just redid the SITS tax, which will have enough money with what was already there from Hillsborough County, their bed tax, and other sources with special taxing districts. We've gone over this with Ken Hagan many times. Developers can kick in money. Daryl Shaw certainly can kick in money. The team buying the group buying the team will obviously kick in money, and there's going to be political favor for them because they're Tampa Bay people and they've done great things in this marketplace. So I think that part of it is going to be there's going to be great momentum because as I see it, the Rays playing outdoors, and we'll get to the on-field stuff, which is exciting. Having a great season in Tampa, sellouts, announcement, local group, well-known, Tampa elite. Stadium then comes next. Excitement. I think they might end up playing in Steinbrenner for a few years. I don't know the logistics of that. I've been told that could be a little dicey with the Yankees. I don't think the Trop is going to be fixed, but that could happen. And if they played and if they fix the Trop, which I think it'd be a colossal mistake anyway, because the city doesn't want to work with Stu Sternberg after all this. You think they really want to work together? Even getting something like that done, $56 million is the cost. The estimated cost, it could go as high as $100 million. They don't know where they're getting the funding, whether they're getting FEMA money or not. I would think in this atmosphere, I don't think the Trump administration is going to be giving out FEMA money for a billionaire to fix his stadium. I don't think that's happening. So I think that's very much up in the air. And I think they could probably enlarge Steinbrenner's field to 18, 20,000 and play there for a few more years while the stadium is being built. So there's a lot of momentum. This is all, I'm not reporting this as fact, folks. I'm reporting this as what I see is based on all the things I've been told what could happen. And I think that's great for St. Pete. I think it's great for St. Pete. I think it's great for Tampa. It's great for the Rays. It's great for Rays fans. It's what Tampa Bay always should have been about in terms of baseball. And I'm very much looking forward to it. And remember this, folks, 2018, Hillsborough County came up with a deal. And by the way, they only had 6 months. Once they got the okay to do it, they only had 6 months to put together a financial plan. And I'm talking about the details. I was involved in this. I was part of the Raise 100 local businessmen that were raising pledges for corporate support, which totaled $160 million. One of the many false narratives that have been out there. There's no corporate backing. There was always corporate backing. That was a total false narrative. $160 million in pledges, and that was without a stadium plan. And so once they got that done, they had the corporate support, the public support, and Ken will be the first one to tell you, they didn't have all the T's crossed and the I's dotted, but there was a framework that if you had a willing owner, you could have got it done like all these deals. The deals are done with framework. The deals change, but if you have two parties that are working together, you can get it done. But with Stu, it's never been that. It's always one party trying to exact as much money out of the public as possible and doing it in a very disingenuous way. So yeah, same thing. It was the same playbook. What do you know? Does this sound familiar? Get the community excited, come up with a plan, show the renderings, have a press conference, tell them you're here to stay. And then when you're finally faced with the idea, when you finally get down to the end, you tell them you're not going to pay all that money. You got to come up with more money. And Hillsborough County said, yeah, we don't have it. The deal is the deal, and the Rays walked away at the 11th hour. Huh? Does that sound familiar, Nick? That sound familiar?
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
It's exactly what happened to St. Pete. And by the way, again, we predicted it when the deal was done. I said, don't do business with these guys. This is not going to end well for you, Mayor Welch. I implore you. This is not a good idea. And here we sit. And this is not to say that I'm some genius. It's to simply say this is what Stu Sternberg has been about. And it's not personal for me and Stu. It's just about how he has held up development on both sides of the bay and toyed around with business people on the Hillsborough side, St. Pete side, three or four different mayors in St. Pete, the officials in Hillsborough County, the officials in Montreal. All these people have been used and abused for so long, and the constant has always been Stu and the way he's gone about this search. Again, not personal, just like this has been bad for a lot of people, and we've been talking about it forever, and it never had to be this way. It doesn't happen with other owners this way. They just build stadiums. It's not that hard. So hopefully we will remove that impediment in the near future, and Stu can walk off into the sunset with a $2 billion profit, and good for him. Thank you for all the wins. I think he definitely deserves credit for making this team a winner. Could have been a lot better, I think, if they've actually had a payroll and he put the money back into the team like he always pledged he would do. That didn't happen. So, but thank you, Stu. Appreciate it. Now let's move on with something that's bigger and better in Tampa. And let's hope that it happens. If you guys have any questions, put them in the comments and we'll hit them. Nick, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think beyond like the obvious stuff, which is like him being sort of in the way, it feels like, of getting this stadium deal, over the finish line. And then obviously the stuff when it comes to, you'd like to see the Rays be a little bit more aggressive, on the free agency market, or when it comes to acquiring players, paying them, things like that. I just think in general, you just mentioned it, like the Rays have had so much success under Stu Sternberg. And I've said before, I feel like it's almost been like, it's a hard conversation to like say like, okay, he deserves no credit for it, because at the end of the day, he's putting those people in place to do their job. Absolutely. But I would argue he's always like, he's put guardrails on those people to do their job. And I think that just speaks to the talent of the Eric Neanders of the world, and the Pete Bendixes of the world, and everyone else that's come through the front office. Having cash for what they've been able to do. And so I've always felt like, okay, yeah, they've had a lot of success under Stu, but I feel like it's almost been in spite of him, just a bit. And even more, looking at it from a bigger standpoint, with all the success they've had, all the great people in the organization, the great talent we've seen come through here, it always just feels like there's always a black cloud hanging over the Rays. And that's how I've felt, really for the last decade or so, when all these issues and Stu has, sort of alienated himself from the fan base. Like you could probably answer this more, and some of the Rays fans who are older than me, but when Stu took over the team, like, I would say what he took over 2004, right? 2004, 2005. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like the sentiment against Stu started flipping until like we got to like, the mid 2010s or something like that. Maybe when the stadium stuff started really coming to the forefront, and you saw sort of then the games that he was playing where like people started to sort of flip against him. I know that's where it felt like it happened. And then over the last 6 years, with all the tactics that he's used, the Montreal stuff, the Sister City stuff, the Tampa deal falling through in 2018 and bringing us to this point, like it's just shifted so hard. And I just feel like it's come to a point where like, it's time. It's just time to part ways, however that is. And of course, in this scenario, it's going to be selling the team. To me, it just feels like it's time. Let's release this black cloud from us, because this is a city that still has such great vibes with the hockey team. It has great vibes with the football team, right now where both those franchises are at. And I feel like with the Rays, even though they've had so much success, it just feels different, right? It just has always felt a little different. Even when they're making the World Series in 2020, even when they're winning 100 games in 2021, it's always just felt a little different. And I'm tired of that feeling. I really am. So that's where
it's
I'm
hard to
with
support them. Yeah, you're so right. And it's just so hard to support them because all the underlying things with the owner. And you look at the owners, there's a time, let's just be honest, where the Glazers were somewhat vilified. And that has changed so dramatically because why? Because they changed the way they did business. They've bent over backwards to do things in the community. They put a lot of money into the stadium when they needed that renovation, over $140 million. They've spent wildly. Bruce Arians had a 75 person coaching staff. When Tom Brady came here, the checkbook was wide open. They've never said no to anything when it comes to spending money post buying Manchester United. They've done a phenomenal job. They have done a phenomenal job. And I'm here to tell you, they could have been out there squawking about getting a new stadium the past few years. They haven't done that. But Raymond James is coming up on 30 years. Have they been out there bitching and moaning? Where's our part of the deal? No, they have
mostly
not.
People like, people in the media and people, saying like, oh, well, the Bucs are going to be up soon. But you haven't really heard the Bucs really saying like, hey, we got to do this. We got to do this. Yeah, because they're working behind the scenes with the county and the city to get something done that may or may not include the Rays. And I think it does. And they understand what market they're in and where they're at with this market. And they have a great opportunity to continue to thrive here. They're not going anywhere, and they love it here. And they're part of this. They're part of the answer. They're part of the getting these things done. They're not always part of the problem, like Stu has always been, and he's been disrespectful to fans. I mean, we go back to the Montreal playoff banner, always blaming the fans for low payrolls, which was absolutely completely disingenuous. I mean, I'm not saying they should have $190 million. Don't forget last year when they had a payroll that was exceeding $90 million for the first time, and he's putting out this propaganda in the papers about, I'm incurring so much loss this year.
So uncomfortable
putting out this payroll, which, there were reasons why the payroll was there. It wasn't because you added like this influx of talent or anything.
Right.
It's just because natural progression, arbitration and things like that just sort of happened. And then now
what happened this year? Dialed it back.
Yeah, they dialed it back. I mean, they made some moves, but yeah, you're right.
So it's time for a new era. And the biggest thing to this whole equation, honestly, is Rob Manfred. And I think he saw when the bonds were in danger of not being passed, and I think he finally really dug in and talked to the mayor, talked to the county commission. I think he finally realized in that moment that if Stu Sternberg wasn't going to do this deal, he was never going to do any deal. He just doesn't have the money, doesn't have the will, doesn't have the want to, whatever it is. I think Rob Manfred finally realized that and said, that's enough. That's enough. He's the problem. I could have told him that. I did tell him that many years ago, but we're finally there. And I think that's going to be the key to this whole deal, because Stu left to his own devices with do what? We got 4 more years. We got 4 more years to figure it out. Another quote that will go down in history. No, you don't. No, you don't. Your time is up. Your time is up. I mean, what another just completely arrogant thing to say. Well, we're going to completely renege on this deal. We said we were going to do cost overruns and pay $700 million, and you gave us everything we could possibly want. The worst deal in the history for taxpayers. You're giving us over $1 billion in public money, but it's still not good enough. We need more. We need more. And, if we can't do this deal, we'll just figure it out in 4 years. Maybe you'll come up with some more money for us. It's like, what? No, your time is up. Your time is up. There's a lot of other people involved in this, like, the fans, the other major league owners, the commissioner. They kind of want to get this deal done so they can go and expand and get their expansion dollar monies. All these other owners are like, enough of this. This is crazy. And all these false narratives that always been promulgated about how it's Hillsborough doesn't have any money, St. Pete doesn't have any money, they don't have the will, the fans are bad, blah, 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 blah. It's never been about that. Never. And now we know, and let's see what happens. Let's see what happens from this point out. That rosy picture that I painted, I think that is very doable, very reasonable. And if you follow the money, that's where it goes. That's where it goes. And I just hope, that this comes to fruition. Again, I'm not sitting here telling you this deal is done. They're going to sell. This is going to happen. It's going to be an Ybor City. I'm just telling you, all the pieces are in place to get this done now, where they've never been in place before. Never. We've never had the motivation from the commissioner to get it done. We've never had a situation where now it's clear to everybody that Stu Sternberg does not want a deal, will not do a deal. We now have deep pocket owners that are Tampa Bay based that are ready to move it forward. Two groups. So we've never had this before. The SITS money that has now been renewed that will allow to get more money for public financing and do a fair deal for the taxpayers, by the way. This is the first time we've ever had all these things in place. That's what I'm telling you. And if it gets done, and I think there's, do I put a percentage on it? I'll get hammered for that. I don't even want to do that. I'm just going to say everything is in place for it to get done. Everything is in place. And if it doesn't get done, it'll probably be because of one reason.
Well, here's my question. Let's say this is let's use this hypothetical. Let's say that all this months of back and forth between Pinellas and St. Pete and Stu Sternberg and the Rays and all this stuff that's been going on, right? Let's just say this has been just one giant posturing match. And March 31st comes, and all of a sudden the Rays have met all their agreements. Let's just say, like, in that scenario, and I don't even know what percentage point that is, to be honest with you, but let's just say that happens and they meet all their obligations, and somehow, some way, we see a shovel in the ground, the proverbial shovel in the ground that we've been waiting and we've been saying forever. What does that do then, I guess, in your opinion? Like, now that
don't start with this.
At least please. We'll know then at least that we're not going anywhere, which, I mean, we don't think
which would be good.
Which they wouldn't be going anywhere regardless, I don't think. But it would completely end all of this.
Yeah, I don't even want to talk about that, because unless some Saudi prince comes in, and says just wants to throw away money, and I don't even think Major League Baseball would agree with it, to be honest with you, because they're looking at the long-term position of this team, and they know it doesn't exist in St. Pete, and MLB, the owners, would have to approve all that. So I think the MLB position here is probably the most important thing, and they're going to get it done. All right, let's take a break. And when we come back, I want to get to the comments and questions. We got Ray stuff on the field we're going to get to. John Cooper from last night, I thought he had some really good things to say about the Four Nations and his team's effort last night getting the job done. We got lots more coming your way. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. They are local, they are trusted, and they get results. So if you've been involved in an accident, you have any legal questions whatsoever, they will give you a free case evaluation. You've seen Scott Jeeves on the show. Great guy, very approachable. Just give him a call. Say, this is what's going on. Can you help me? And it's a free call. So go to their website, Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Non-attorney spokesman, opposite St. Pete, Tampa. Back in 3. Old Hurricane Helene put a hurting on Tampa Bay, and for many of you, the rebuild will be a long process. You must beware of unscrupulous contractors offering up quick fixes for incredible prices. It's a scam. So go with long-standing, reputable companies like Third Generation Plumbing and AC. My friend John Rodriguez has been serving Tampa Bay since 1995 with hundreds of 5-star reviews. If you need a new AC system or any home repairs from Helene, they will work with insurance companies to get you taken care of quickly, expertly installed, of course, and a 1-year maintenance plan and 10-year warranty included on all AC units. 0% financing for 60 months. Contact them at thirdgenerationplumbing.com or 813-961-8024. That's 813-961-8024, thirdgenerationplumbing.com. So many of our Tampa Bay neighbors are finding out the hard way from Hurricane Helene that homeowners insurance does not cover flood damage. You must have flood insurance. It's a separate policy. Immediately call Italiano Insurance at 813-877-7799, and they will shop around to find the best policy before rates go up. Lock it in. Over 60% are underinsured in Florida, or you're not getting your discounts that you're entitled to. So do an insurance checkup at Italiano, and they could save you thousands of dollars. Italiano will make sure you're with a highly rated insurer, so there are no surprises in your time of need. Our hearts go out to all our neighbors devastated by Helene. These are the times we're proud to protect all the pieces of your life. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, voted number 3 People's Choice Award on Open Table. I want to thank all our loyal family of customers that have been enjoying our great traditional Italian dishes we make from scratch every day. It's a great family story we're proud of. Our family moved from Rimini, Italy in 1984. My dad, Caesar, started Donatello, and that's where I got the start in the restaurant business. I started Caffè Paradiso on South McDill in 1995, and we've been there ever since. From our traditional ossobuco, a veal slow roast for 4 hours, to our daily fresh catch, the Gruppo Paradiso, with a piccata sauce and lobster claw meat, homemade pasta like lasagna, farfalle salchicha, which is a bow tie pasta homemade with fresh sausage. Hold on a minute, JP's favorite. I love it. So come and have a glass of wine with me on South McDill. Get a reservation on Open Table and see all our 5-star reviews. Ciao, see you soon at Paradiso.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance, in business for over 60 years. Don't forget, guys, you got to have flood insurance. Even if it's not required by your mortgage, you got to have it. Excuse me. Right on the edge, baby. Right on the edge. And if you need business insurance, make sure you get that as well. Call for a quote at Italiano 813-877-7799. All right, Nick Geddes, you want to get to some of these quotes?
The comments, you mean?
Comments, yes. Daniel Rivera says, JP, I still believe it's getting closer to a sale being done, as you say it is. I'm still going to say by opening day there will be a new Rays ownership, in my opinion, and also a deal for the Ybor site. Well, Daniel, you know lots of people, so maybe you know a little bit more than I do. I don't think it'll get done that quickly, but I am hopeful. That would be great. I mean, for them to announce that on opening day, and I think it's hard it is for me to say. I think there has to be some type of passing of the torch, and thanking of Stu Sternberg for what he brought, blah, 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 blah. And then we Bucs Baseball says, JP, don't give me hope about the Rays sale to Tampa. We've been here like literally 5 times in like 3 years until the deal is signed and Stu is gone. I refuse to get hopes up. I don't blame you, Bucs Basement. I don't blame you one bit. But as I said, never before have we had all these things in place. Not even close. Not even close. So that's what gives me optimism. He continues, if Bowles, he couldn't stop. He had to go after Bowles.
Oh, my goodness.
Love you, Bucs Basement.
I mean, compared to going after Stu, going after Bowles is like, almost feels rude.
Yes, that's right. Nice. Different ballpark. If Bowles fails to get the Bucs to where they need to be, I'm already to place bets that Todd Monken will be the next head coach of the Bucs. I don't feel like there's this great, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but this grassroots movement to get Todd Monken here. I don't know.
I mean, I wish Todd Monken had gotten an opportunity somewhere else, but I don't think teams are. I think he might just be like, since he's not established and hasn't been a head coach, he's almost at that age where, like, I think teams want to just go younger, unfortunately.
Thomas Casper says, Manfred must be involved. Trust me, he is very involved now. He is very involved. He said that. He said, what did he say at the meeting? He said, I'm spending a lot of time with Stu. Squeezing him. He's spending a lot of time with Stu. Trust me. Thomas says DeBartolo has the money but questionable interest unless it's his sons. Yeah, I think there's probably part of that. Obviously the family knows how to run sports businesses, so I always thought that he would be a great choice to be, kind of the, even if not the point person in his group. I'm told he is not the point person. It's somebody else, and I have the name, but I'll need to confirm that before I do that one. So yeah. We'll reserve on that, but he's definitely part of it. As far as I've been told by my sources, Dak has been trying for years. Yeah, I think you mean Dex Imaging. I have not heard Dan Doyle's name as part of this. He was part of his own group last year, and I think he offered like $1.8 billion for the team, if I'm not mistaken, and that was a no. So I think it's interesting. I'm not going to sit here and say he's not involved, but. From what I've heard, he's not part of either one of these groups, but I could be wrong. So they don't have all the names. RJ Martin says, if the Rays get sold, we should have a boat parade just to celebrate my get. Yeah, the Wicked Witch is dead. I'm trying to be as respectful as I can to him. If you guys haven't noticed, I just, because I don't want to make it about him. And the only thing about him is he just doesn't want to get the deal done. That's the thing. Ray Kennedy, what's up, buddy? I said, first and foremost, keep the home team home. That's the Tampa Bay, regardless of stadium location. Will they get the Rowdies? Also, there's some prime waterfront property with that deal. I don't, unless the Rowdies become an MLS team, I don't think it would be part of the deal. And obviously if they're going to build a stadium and they could get an MLS franchise, and I mean, look what Atlanta's done with that team. I mean, they filled the Mercedes-Benz Dome. I mean, obviously that would be a huge part of it if they could, but the Rowdies, as they're constructed in USL, I think they fit better in St. Pete.
It depends if like America, I don't know. I don't keep up much with it, but like, soccer everywhere else has a relegation system. And like, I know there's been like, should US soccer finally conform to what the sport is everywhere else and do a relegation system? But probably not going to happen because American owners, since it's been this way, I don't think they're all going to be like, yeah, let me sign up to have my team potentially lose this much revenue every single year if I don't qualify, I don't think it's going to happen. So I don't know where the Rowdies sit as far as MLS talks right now.
I don't think they're part of this deal. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Thomas Casper says it's peanuts to the Glazers buying the Rays and Rowdies. Again, the Rowdies are not MLS. They tried that, and they've just recently expanded too, right? They're what, 32 teams now?
They're getting close. I think they're getting close to having the 30, 32 like everybody else.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what the expansion appetite is there. And, with the team right down the road in Orlando and Miami, I don't know. I don't know if I see that. Ray Kenny says, I agree with JP. The only reason why St. Pete would have repaired the Trop is because they were contractually obligated to make it good until 2028. But if Stu sells the team, that goes out the window. I think if you acquire the team, all contracts come with it. So I think that would be an option. And of course, with new ownership, I think St. Pete would be much more willing to work with new ownership and make it a true public-private partnership and make it something good for St. Pete for 3 years. And I think that's doable. I don't think there's any momentum for Stu and the city working it out over the next 3 years. I don't see that. So I think that's a possibility. Anything's possible when you have a reasonable owner with deep pockets that wants to do what's best for Tampa Bay. And I would think, that would be something they would look at. Absolutely. I think they would I'd rather play in large Steinbrenner Field and play there. But of course that, you need the Yankees to do that too. What else we got here? James says a real owner isn't worried about money up front. Why? They know they will make money over time in Tampa with a public-private partnership, something Stu can't understand. Can't wait until a new group is announced. Yes, me too. And I'm working on it as best I can under these circumstances. Mike H says St. Pete is responsible to fix the Trop and provide an MLB stadium for the Rays. You are correct. They are, and I think that is no matter who owns the team, I think that's part of it. But again, it's a lot of different machinations. They're responsible for providing a major league facility, and that could be Steinbrenner Field. If the cost is going to be $15 million a year and it's a fixed cost, which is what they're paying the Yankees this year, was reported. I think the city of St. Pete, do the math. That's $45 million. It's at the lowest $56 million to repair the Trop, and nobody knows how that's going to go. So if they were able to get a fixed cost on that, I think they would choose that. And I also think that Major League Baseball would chip in. I think
I'll say this. This is like taking the financials out of it, and I know this is like almost wishful thinking because I'm saying take the most important thing out of it. I wish that there could be at least one more season in the Trop, like just one more. I'll continue to say, like, no matter how much people might feel about the Trop, like I don't like that, like, I don't know when the last time, like, I was there was going to be the last time, I want that place to have its proper send off because there's been some magical moments inside that building, and I'm that sports as a sports fan. I don't want it just to sit there as it is now and just be imploded and die without a roof on it. Like, I don't think anybody wanted that outcome.
It's the death it deserves.
I don't think so. I'd like for them to have it back. But even from a logistical standpoint, because like you said, I don't think it's feasible probably and realistic to play in Steinbrenner Field for the next whatever years. I think that's going to be really tough to do. And I also, from a scheduling standpoint, keep in mind, the Rays schedule this year had to be reworked pretty good to play in Steinbrenner because of the expected issues with weather and stuff. And you think the Rays want to sign up for, during the summer being on the road every single week? It feels like they are going to be this year. Like at some point you have to think about the competition aspect on the field too. And like, we haven't really chatted about that much. I know that's more of an on-field topic, but like the Rays are going to be away from home for like most of the summer. Like that can't be great.
Well, I think it's a little overblown. It's a difference of, I think, about 12 games. I think they've changed in the schedule, 8 to 12 of 162. So let's not go crazy about it. But what I see is, imagine if the Rays get off to a great start and they're 10 games ahead of the Yankees, because they're playing all these games at home and they're hitting home runs. Lau's got 20 home runs in the first half and Josh Lowe's got 20 home runs because they're playing in that. They're just taking full advantage of the Yankee Stadium, right? And they're bludgeoning the Yankees. Like at that point, Hal Steinbrenner may raise an eyebrow like, yeah, I sure have been nice to these guys, but dadgummit, man, they're kicking our ass. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but if that does happen, where do you think Yankee fans are going to be with that? Oh, they're going to be apoplectic. They're going to be like, what the F have we done? And that's not totally out of the realm, right? That could happen.
Yeah. Again, every time I pass by Steinbrenner, I look to the left, I go, man, the idea of Brandon Lau staying healthy for the entire season because he's not playing on that turf and, hitting home runs over that right field. I mean, that sounds fun to me. I think they're going to have an advantage standpoint just playing there over the other teams for sure.
As Mr. Insurance Thomas Casper tells me, toxic, moldy, destroyed trop repair can always be a settlement. Yeah, I just don't see how they do it, man. You've seen some of the pictures, right? Everything's covered up. Like, we're getting this rainstorm today. This jumping, how many inches of rain on the trop? And
I think about that often. Every time it rains, like you have to think, it's just more that's just popping inside the trop.
And that's just, that rain is streaming into places it's never meant to stream into. And they got to pump it to get it out. It's, you start trying to repair that building. Who knows what the cost will be? And they got to try to get it done by the beginning of 2026. And the city has no motivation to do it, to do it on time. It's such a bad marriage right now.
Wasn't that the thing? The Rays are claiming that the city has an obligation to do it by 2026 opening day, and the city says no.
No, they don't. The contract says they have to provide, and I think it says, there's no time stamp on it. Just they have to do it in good.
If in November the Rays would have, when the vote went through to fix it, and then Brian All decided to go run his mouth, the room over to the media, prompting them to switch the vote. We probably could have been constructing that thing already.
Yeah, exactly. Let's not forget that. Oh, we don't want the trop fixed. And then a few weeks later, oh, now we want it fixed. Oh, well, wait, you delayed a few weeks. Sorry, that's good. Delay is going to cost us $200 million. Let's throw it right back at them. It's so comical, all the back and forth. Eric Filau says the commissioner made a statement and the Rays remain at Tampa, and before he leaves the office in 27, may this finally be the answer? I think they're leaving, and I think he's okay with that, and that's fine. It's the way. Hey, you know what? If Kreisman would have had his way, he would have had the damn thing redeveloped already, and there would be a stadium in Tampa. That should have happened. Anti-Stu began when he demanded profits from Vince the Molly in 2006. Yeah, I remember that as well. All right, so I want to get to some others. You got a lot of great comments here, but I want to get to some other stuff before we get through the first hour. Namely, should we do Rays on the field or should we do?
Let's do some Rays on the field. We could keep it together, and then when we get to the second hour, we could shift away. I'm sorry, I'm just looking. I know this really has nothing to do with anything. I was just looking at the Rays schedule because so it's 8 home games they'll play in August and July and August. They have 8 home games that each month.
And typically they'd have 12
in the Steinbrenner. I guess so. Yeah.
Typically they'd have 12.
And I started looking at it too. I guess I missed this part about the game times. I like this, that some of the game time, a lot of the game times are 7:35 p.m. start times, which is like the latest I feel like I've ever seen on an Eastern time market. I kind of like that.
Well, it gives people time to get home.
The 6:40 nonsense was insane.
Well, that was because of the travel time, and
but getting there was a bitch.
Yeah, right. Getting there was a problem. They were focused on getting home on school nights.
Right.
So that's why they had them earlier. Well, now you don't have to worry about that. because most of the travel times now are going to be 30 minutes. So if you
Yeah.
start at 7:30 and the games are shorter.
Yeah.
So,
And as a reminder, I think tickets go on sale in the next couple days, I think.
yeah, the pre-sale is Wednesday morning. I got my link.
There you go. I got my link too. There it is.
I'm a Raised Insider.
Wednesday
Yeah,
morning.
and then it goes to the public on Thursday. And I'm here to tell you, if you're waiting for Thursday, I don't think there's going to be anything left.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see for opening day against I think it's the Rockies, right? Which is a very odd opening day opponent, might I add. Very curious to see what those are going to go for.
It's good though, because normally you wouldn't draw flies with the Rockies, but since it's opening weekend, you're going to draw a lot. So that's actually works out good. And a team hopefully you can beat. Yeah. So over the weekend, Chandler Simpson said, hello. It's the guy you've been talking about, Nick.
Yep.
Catch he makes in center field. Wow. Running to first base, beating out hits. Great article. I think Topkin wrote it on his minor league. The dude hitting like 323. He hits for high average, stole 100 bases in Double-A. Is the fastest to first base of anybody in Major League Baseball. He gets on base. They're talking about Josh Lowe and Aranda moving to the top of the lineup and moving Yandy down. Put Chandler Simpson up there. I know he's not played AAA and he'll probably start in AAA, but
right.
And I'd rather have Kim up top than either one of the. Definitely not Yandy. Yandy needs to be moved down. Get somebody who can run number one at the top, and can get on base. That's a tip. But this whole, I've talked about this for years. Where are the leadoff men? Where are the typical leadoff men in baseball? It's a forgotten thing. You go
there was an article in the Times this week, I think, where the Rays are thinking about moving Yandy down to give him some more RPI opportunities.
Duh. I never understood that. You have the worst runners in scoring position average, but you kept leaving Yandy at the, your best hitter at the top of the lineup with nobody in front of him to get on base, because that's the bottom of the lineup. That made no sense to me whatsoever. But I'm not an analytics guy, so
this dude. I mean, the numbers here. He's had 233 minor league games. He's had 1,042 plate appearances. He's drawn 104 walks and only struck out 91 times. In 1,000, he's got more walks than strikeouts in 1,000 plus plate appearances. He's been called the little Tony Gwynn by scouts, who believe that he has that type of plate discipline. And we're talking about, the all-time great. Like, if you're talking about just
Tony Gwynn couldn't run. He couldn't run.
He couldn't run like this guy, though. And my good, he's got 206 stolen bases in 3 years in the minors. He just swiped.
I think his rate is like what, in 90%, 85%?
He swiped 104 bags last year and got caught 17 times. So do the math on that.
Yeah,
and he had a moment in the game the other day where he hit just a little slow roller to first, and it's good night. He's got a single. That's it.
I love it. In the article too, it talked about his dad. He said his dad made him play. Listen up, parents. If your kid don't want to play, make him play. Make him play at least for a while. And look what that's wrought.
Yeah, and they're saying that he was a second baseman actually at Georgia Tech. And he's only been playing the outfield for a few years. So what you're seeing of Chandler Simpson in the outfield, this is the raw version of him. They're saying for everything I've been reading, they deem him like an average outfielder at this point. But with the speed that he has, the range, I mean, once he gets adjusted to some of the, the fly balls and everything and the trajectories and just the nuance of playing the position, this guy could be special. Makes me wish that, Kevin Kiermaier would have chosen the Rays to be a coach. Because, I mean, that would have been a great connection. KK teaching Chandler Simpson the ropes in center field. I saw that. He took a coaching job at the Blue Jays. I think the Rays had offered him, and he liked the opportunity with Toronto better. But
I wonder why.
I don't know. But that's besides the point. But I think he's going to be a really good player for this team. And if you're just comparing him to Johnny DeLuca, I know where the upside goes there. I know I favor the upside department.
And by the way, that Kiermaier thing. The guy played his entire career for the Rays almost. He played, a cup of coffee with the Blue Jays and the Dodgers. And he gets a ring. And he has the opportunity to go with the team that, he's beloved with, and he chooses the Blue Jays. I mean, that tells you about how these guys feel about this organization inside.
You're dead to me again, KK. Is KK going to be wearing the eye black in the dugout as a coach?
Absolutely, 100%. He will find a way to draw attention to himself. Caminero with a bomb. What was that, Saturday's game?
Yep.
Danny Jansen, first at bat, the new catcher. Boy, do they love him. They love him. I think Cash is trying to get him married off to his daughter, the way they talk about this guy. And Neander as well.
I mean, with Cash had no options but to trot out Alex Jackson for 50 or 60 games last year.
Think about that.
You think he loves him some Danny Jansen, just seeing a legit major league catcher?
Unbelievable. So Caminera, Danny Jansen, Chandler's, what else? Aranda has been hitting the ball really, really well. We got to see Jimenez do something. A guy who's
I tell you what, I'm a little. So I was so out. Eloy Jimenez was never like my sort of like player. I always felt like he was a bit overrated, even when he was at his best in Chicago. And then this last year, and maybe it's just being around the stink that the White Sox have been. He obviously had the worst year of his career last year on the worst team in baseball for the first half of it. And then he goes to Baltimore. Didn't get much better. He only hit 6 home runs last year. Injuries have been a major sticking point with Eloy Jimenez. And I know the Rays are probably going to keep him far, far away from the outfield. If he makes this team, DH, first base, that's it. And I think that's probably the move for Eloy. It sounds like he's dropped some weight. What did I hear? 15, 20 pounds, I think, at least, that he's dropped. So he's trying to get himself in better shape. He's only 28 years old. He was a former top prospect in baseball. And when he's humming, he clearly can show that he can hit 30 plus home runs. So in terms of, taking a flyer on somebody, because these are the types of moves the Rays love to do, right? In terms of taking a flyer on somebody, I don't hate it. I worry that there might be, I hope there's just not too much swing and miss in the Rays lineup right now, because I look at, guys like Morel, for example, who,
oh God,
if Chris Morel playing at left field scares the ever-living daylights out of me. It really does.
You see that at bat the other day? I was just watching the first game. He botches one in left field, but the sun, so I get it. Then he comes up with runners in scoring position, second and third, against some minor league pitcher. Guy's throwing, I think, like 92, 93. And he is just like swinging as hard as he can on every single pitch. As hard, 2 strikes, he's swinging as hard as he can, pulling his head out. And I'm like, dude, runners in scoring position, 2 strikes. Figure it out. I mean, Cash has to look at that and go, it's almost like Jameis throwing picks. It's like, bro, what are you doing? Get the ball and play.
I'm telling you, he scares me.
No, I hope that works out, but I don't see much there.
Yeah, I mean,
that's only one at bat, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, I mean, they also have, as Mike H. put in the comments, Curtis Mead, he's gained 20 pounds of muscle this offseason. To me, this is like the make or break year for Curtis Mead. I feel like not going to act like he's gotten a chance to play like every day necessarily since he's been up, but they tried to give him some run last year. I think his numbers against lefties have fared very well, so maybe he'll be a guy that they use in those platoon situations. But I think it's absolutely, at this point, Curtis Mead, entering his age 24 season, I think it's sort of, let's see it now. Same thing with Jonathan Aranda. Like, if Jonathan Aranda this year does not get it together, then at this point we have to pull the plug on Jonathan Aranda. Like, there's a lot of guys who we've been waiting to sort of reach some consistency at the major league level, and they're going to get an opportunity to this year.
And they got to produce. And this is the Rays have in essence rolled the dice and said, yeah, we got a great pitching staff, but we're not going to go add any big hitters. Not going to go add Pete Alonso. Not going to go add a big. Can you imagine if they had one big bopper in this lineup? How much?
Yeah,
it would
I feel like they're one bat away. I mean, obviously they're hoping, like I said, they threw a dart at Eloy Jimenez, hoping that they can somewhat get the version of him to stay healthy, and that last year was just a completely off season for him. So again, it's just there's a lot of what ifs in the Rays lineup. There's just a lot of what ifs, but I think on paper it looks a hell of a lot better than it did last year. And if you're just strictly looking at the acquisitions they made, Ha-Seong Kim over Taylor Walls at shortstop, massive upgrade. Danny Jansen, just on the fact that he's a major league catcher who's had one good season really as a hitter so far, but even that, massive upgrade over what you had at catcher last year. Like they have up even though they haven't made the big acquisition necessarily, like the two guys they have brought in are upgraded. Like I don't think you have any guys in the bottom of your lineup where you're going, automatic out like you were last year.
And let's just say Chandler Simpson comes up, midway through the season, and you could see a lineup that had him at the top, Hassan Kim up there as well, Yandy Diaz where he should be, a Brandon Lau hopefully healthy, Josh Lowe returning to form. Caminero that's hitting bombs. I mean,
when you spell it out, like it provided everyone stays healthy.
A lot of ifs and buts, candies and nuts.
Yeah, there's a lot of ifs and buts, like you said, but provided they all stay healthy, like I think that lineup could definitely be in the top half of baseball. And we know the Rays are going to pitch just fine.
Yeah, so there's some optimism. Like I kind of outlined at the beginning of this, it's the nirvana for all Rays fans if all this came to pass in the next few months. And there's just no reason that it can't, except for Stu. But that is taken care of with Major League Baseball. Like I said, we've never had all these things in place before. I understand your lack of optimism. Trust me, nobody shares that more than me. But I can also tell you we've never had this type of alignment. Could Stu screw it up still? Absolutely. But let's live in our hopes and not our fears at this point. And I think we're in good shape. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side. We'll get to some more of your comments. There's questions on baseball that I want to get to. We'll get to the Lightning as well. John Cooper, we'll hear from him, and Brandon Hagel. And we'll talk some Bucks as well. What's going on with him? And your Eagles are not going to go to the White House. Oh, so sad. We are brought to you by the great folks at the Gold and Diamond Source. Amethyst is the February birthstone, so get on in there and get a 15% discount on all the amethyst things if you had a February birthday that you need to take care of. And, of course, always the place to buy a real diamond, not a fake diamond, a real diamond. Do not start your relationship with a fake diamond. The Golden Diamond Source, back at 3. Hey, JP here for my concierge medical professional, Chris Lugo, PA. You've heard him on the show for a couple of years where he shares invaluable medical, nutritional, and supplement advice. With Chris, it's like having a medical provider as your best friend. What I love about this concierge service is the convenience and support he offers. I can text or call him 24/7 with any questions or concerns, and he'll promptly call in a prescription if needed. No office visits or co-pays required. It gives me peace of mind knowing I have someone genuinely invested in my health, not just focused on insurance profits. And the best part, the Bay Area Modern Medical Center's personal concierge service is more affordable than you might think. Don't let insurance companies dictate your health care. Take control of your health and wellness today. Visit BAMMC.com for more information and to schedule your initial free consultation. Empower yourself and take charge of your personal health with BAMMC.com. Hey guys, February's birthstone is amethyst, a stunning purple gem that symbolizes peace, protection, tranquility, and sincerity. Celebrate her birthday or your 6th and 17th wedding anniversaries with an unforgettable amethyst gift. And of course, for over 40 years, the Golden Diamond Source has been Tampa Bay's most trusted name in fine jewelry. We only sell natural diamonds. If it's real love, it should be a real natural diamond. Don't get a fake. The Golden Diamond Source first-time buyer program will help you learn about the 4 C's, what style, shape, and color works best for you and your unique style. Folks, it's the best customer service. They make it so easy for you, and they're not going to push you into something that you cannot afford. 0% financing for up to 5 years. If you finance $5,000, it's only $83 a month. Also, you can turn your old unused gold into cash or a stunning new piece. With gold prices soaring, there's no better time to trade up. So get that old jewelry and bring it on in. You know where, the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Overton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man Scott Jeeves. If you're going to hire an attorney, do you want some guy looking for a quick settlement and a quick buck, or do you want an attorney with some chops? Scott is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator. Been practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. He is a peer-reviewed AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer. They just don't hand out those classifications. He's been the lead class action counsel on many complex consumer protection cases and has handled hundreds of serious personal injury cases. He's dedicated his career to protecting injured victims and is committed to vigorously representing you. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. Personal injury, and personal attention. Call for a free case evaluation. That's 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. The Jeeves Law Group.
Let's go. Right now. Back to the show on FanStream Sports.
JP Peterson Show here on this rainy Monday. Valspar Media Day. Copperhead supposed to play today with Brian Engblom, and rain. And I'd be in no shape to be playing golf today anyway. We are brought to you by the great folks at Third Generation Plumbing. If you're having some issues with your contractor getting stuff done after the hurricane, Third Generation Plumbing can help you with AC, plumbing, all kinds of different things they can do. So give them a call over there. Tell them JP sent you. Just go to their website, thirdgenerationplumbing.com, and they can help you out. And obviously, they've been in business for a long, long time. Finding an honest contractor right now, like finding an honest Saints fan. Can't find that. So call Third Generation Plumbing. John Rodriguez, saw him the other day at the Tampa Sports Club golf tournament. Great dude. It's a great company. So if you ever need AC plumbing, call him. Tell him JP sent you.
Hey, by the way, I feel like I saw earlier this morning, speaking of the Valspar, we had some big commitments announced. I saw coming out of that today. I think Justin Thomas is coming back.
Oh, nice.
To the Valspar. Webb Simpson's coming. And then they mentioned Tommy Fleetwood, Billy Horschel,
nice.
Cam Young, Will Zalatoris, and then the list of defending past champs who are back are Peter Malnati, Sam Burns, Gary Woodland, Taylor Moore, Adam Hadwin, and Kevin Streelman, and a host of other names, but those are the notables so far. That's
a hell of a field right there. By PGA Tour standards, that is one hell of a field. Yeah, I was hoping to get to it today.
Yeah, it's a lot different than the one we saw this past weekend at the Mexico Open, but which actually landed a great moment, for the winner, Brian Campbell. No, not the former NHL defender. This is a PGA Tour player who I did not know who he was until yesterday. But doesn't this sum up the PGA Tour, JP, and why it's just you can't beat it in terms of like this sort of the way golf is. I know we have our issues with certain things, but 31 years old, 159 starts, never had a single top 10, and made a total of $1.1 million in his career, which, I'll sign up for that for sure. But
I won't even cover your expenses. How long is it?
159 starts. So I think that covers like about 10 years, maybe.
Yeah.
He now has his PGA Tour card through 2027. He got a $1.26 million check, and he also now will get to play into the Masters this year.
That's
and
awesome.
His wife was, I don't know if you saw the video, his wife was right there on 18 after he won, and his wife like went absolutely nuts and like jumped into his arms. Like it was a very emotional moment. So it actually gave us a really cool moment is what I'm saying, even though the field was not great.
Well, it's not dissimilar to when Malnati won last year at the Valspar with his kids there and his little Tracy West was telling this story the other day when I had her on our Tampa Bay Tonight show. And she was like, yeah, his little son was wearing our little Valspar cape that they gave out to the kids, and he picked him up, and the cape went flying in the wind, and all the kids running on. So there are great stories like that on the PGA Tour. We think all these guys are just multi-gazillionaires, and not all of them. A lot of them are grinders, and it just, their entire life has come to this moment, and it changes their entire life. It's really, it's like the ultimate reality show. So it's really cool. And, again, great Valspar options for you guys. Get the premium tickets. The Hooters Owls Nets, I think, is sold out for Saturday and Friday, but you can get some other tickets. And they're on sale now, ValsparChampionship.com. If I had made it out there today, we're hoping to have Rondé on, but hopefully we'll get him on this week or next with Tracy as well. All right. The Bolts last night, 4-1 winners, tight game. I didn't know how the Lightning would come out. Well, you saw some of the games on Saturday, and I think Cooper mentioned this. There was 7-8 goals. There was, teams were well rested, and I thought maybe the Lightning would do that, but their guys, obviously, they had 5 of their guys playing in the tournament. And Brandon Hagel, I think, came down with something simpler than I'm dealing with. So not only did he play in the tournament, I don't know how he did because it just takes all of your energy away. Last night, he makes another shorthanded goal. Do you see this one?
Yes, I did.
McDonough does a little. They're on the penalty kill, and how about this stat? While Hagel is skated on the penalty kill, the opposing team has 9 power play goals. The Lightning have 8 shorties.
You know what? I'm a little irritated that you just.
Are you effing kidding me?
I'm a little irritated that you stole my stat because I literally have that.
Sorry, Nicky,
it's literally here in my notes and everything, and I was like, "Oh, JP's never going to see this stat."
Have you ever?
Seriously, it's serious, and somebody must have stooged it off to you. But that is an absolute crazy stat that covers 112 shorthanded minutes, like as you mentioned, 9 to 8 is that's it.
How the hell? I mean, so when we get a penalty, we're like, all right, it's a penalty kill. We're like, all right, let's score. And last night was a perfect example because I think McDonough, I mean, they know now. Just if you can clear the puck to the middle of the ice, Hagel and Cirelli are gone. They are gone, and they're going to score. And they did, and that was a huge goal last night. And a backhander past Stutzka's, the guy's name, making his first NHL start last night, was really good for the Kraken. I thought he played well for his first NHL start, but he gave up that 5-hole backhand while Hagel's fighting off Bjorkstrand, and it's just a hell of a goal. Great shot, and that gave him a 1-0 lead. Then they extended Kucherov off the faceoff. Holy shiz. He went clean win on the faceoff, and that puck, from when that thing was dropped to when it was in the back of the net, had to be less than a second. That was freaking
camera couldn't even
unbelievable.
get to it.
Yeah, they couldn't even follow it. It's like puck drops, win, boom, and he's just right there with the one-timer. Wha-bang. Right into the back of the net. That was something
I
else.
feel like Nikita Kucherov had to have been, by the way, just side note, that guy had to have been miserable over the last 2 weeks. Like, he had to have been driving himself nuts, I feel like, not being able to play a game.
I could just see him like out in Brandon, just like tic-tacking with it, just like for 10 hours straight, just like, how long's he been out there? 10 hours. Just like tic-tac-toeing with the stick, just like in some mental derangement, just like, I want to play. I bet he did. I don't even know if he watched. It would be so hard to watch.
It's so on brand for him not to watch.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. He must have just been chomping at the bit. So he got a goal last night. I'm definitely wagering on that. So, and then Vasy with 36 saves again. He was fantastic. He's gone. He's now fourth in the league. I don't want to steal your numbers if you got the goaltender numbers there. I think he's fourth in the league now in save percentage and 6th in goals against. And the team as a whole in 5-on-5 hockey is just a total turnaround. So they're now 3 points out of first place with 2 games in hand on the stinking Panthers. How about that? They've won 5 in a row, 6-0-1 in their last 7. Hello. And now they come back just, chest puffed out from the 4 nations, ready to go. I love where this team is at right now. And Brisebois, some of the names that have been linked to the Lightning, holy shizbang.
Who are they not linked to? They've been linked to a lot of people. Yeah. The craziest one being I think Friedman said it on his 32 Thoughts podcast. And this is, by the way, this is just crazy. Okay. Remember the trade last month where Mikko Rantanen, one of the better players in the National Hockey League, gets flipped to Carolina for Natchez because I guess Colorado didn't want to give him the big deal. He goes to Carolina and he's still apparently like processing the trade and everything. And so he's unsure of what he wants to do. Carolina's made him an offer. He doesn't know. So Carolina may actually end up putting him back on the trade block here next month. And Friedman said, like, if that happens, he would expect the Lightning to be all over that. I would expect a lot of teams to be all over that, of course. But that's just a crazy, crazy hypothetical scenario if that actually happened. Rantanen going back on the trade block 2 months after he was traded out of nowhere.
It scares me. Like, what's going on with this guy? I mean,
right.
I don't know.
It's weird.
Would he
hell of a player.
Culture? Yeah. Holy shit. I think he's going to make a big move. I think he's going to make a big move for a top 6 forward, and that will slot everybody down even better where they should be and give them a lot more depth.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so Hagel played his ass off last night, sick. All the guys came back and played well.
And to your point about Vasilevsky, just you were spot on, by the way. Like you said, he's third in save percentage and everything, and 6th in goals against. But if you look at his career numbers, like outside of the 2020-2021 season where he had a 925 save percentage and a 2.21 goals against, he finished second in Vezina voting that season. This year, he's at 920 and 229. I mean, this is statistically, this is the second best season that Andrei Vasilevsky has put together so far. That's how good he's been for the Lightning.
Oh, I did not know that.
I think that's probably one of the biggest differences in their 5v5 play of how it's picked up this year. Of course, with some other things that I'll get to in a second. And I wish with Vasilevsky, can we just like sim to the playoffs already? Because this is like the peak Andrei Vasilevsky that you want right now, because he's 5-0-0 in his last 5 starts while posting a 933 save percentage, which is tops in the league over that time. Like he's ready for playoff hockey. He's ready for it. I mean, even the 2-week break where we thought like, oh, you probably would want Vasilevsky to keep playing. No, didn't matter. He comes back out yesterday and comes really close to posting a shutout. So he's locked in. And the other guy that I wanted to mention, because you mentioned Hagel and everything and how important he is to this team, but how about Ryan McDonagh?
Incredible.
Like, what if I told you, and I didn't even know this until like, right before the break, I was looking at stats randomly and I was like, wow, Ryan McDonagh is tops in the NHL, number 1 in plus minus. And after yesterday where he was a +3, he's +34 right now.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I feel like he's out there and it's like, I don't really notice him. I mean that in a really good way. Like, it just seems like he always makes the smart moves and everything. And there's a reason why I feel like this Lightning team over the last couple of years just wasn't the same when Ryan McDonagh wasn't around. And it's no coincidence they add him back and everything feels like such a more smooth operation. And I just think it goes to the point. Like, I think he's still like, I felt like this even when he was playing and Hedman was on the team a couple years ago and that was prime Hedman. I still feel like play for play, Ryan McDonagh is the most dependable defenseman the Lightning have on their team. And I feel like it's the same way this year.
Yeah, he's been tremendous. I think Brian ran through all the plus minuses for Cirelli and Hagel, all those guys last night. They're all, I think, in the top 10. Or top 10 in the league.
They are.
Yeah, that's just incredible. So, I mean, I know the Lightning, there have been times when they've been 13th in power rankings. I haven't checked lately. But they've been under the radar all year long. I don't think they've been getting their due.
No, and it's honestly because their record makes no sense. If you combine the overtime losses, they're 32-24 right now through 56 games. But again, when you go through goal differential, they're third in the NHL. And the only two teams that are ahead of them are Winnipeg and Washington, who are 1 and 2 in the NHL. I think that their record makes no sense. How they've lost as many games as they have with the amount of goals that they've scored and the few they've given up. I think that's really what it's come down to. And I guess, their record on the road has been, they're literally right. They're 13-13 on the road. And all the other teams that are tops in the league all are well over 500 in that department. I think that's part of it too.
Yeah, they're playing great hockey. It's good to see them get that win last night. I was a little nervous in that second period. But they came through, and that's kind of what they've been doing, in this run. 5-0, 6-0-1 is just, even games where they haven't played great. They were outshot last night, 37-23 by the Kraken. But it didn't matter. It just, they controlled that game. I never thought at any point they were
going
to lose the game. I was just a little worried that, they might, allow a cheapie and just, but they're starting to find the back of the net and finishing their chances.
They have the great neutralizer back there now again. I don't think let's be honest. We didn't have that version of Andrei Vasilevsky the last 2 years.
Yep.
We have it now.
All right, let's take another break. We'll come back and I want to get to, there's a breaking news on the Eagles in the White House. I'll tell you all about that. And we'll get to some Bucs news as well and other stuff. I want to get to the rest of these comments. We have a lot of good comments in here, so I want to get to those as well. We're brought to you by Cafe Paradiso. If you're looking for a great night out with your lovely lady, it's romantic. The food is amazing. It's reasonable. The waiters, by the way, the service is tremendous. All these guys have been working there for Paulo for 20 years. So the service is absolutely impeccable, and you can't find that anymore. You just can't, and it makes all the difference in the world. And you guys know what I'm talking about. Cafe Paradiso, South McDill. Go to Open Table, get your reservation. Back in 3. Hurricane Helene put a hurting on Tampa Bay, and for many of you, the rebuild will be a long process. You must beware of unscrupulous contractors offering up quick fixes for incredible prices. It's a scam. So go with long-standing, reputable companies like Third Generation Plumbing and AC. My friend John Rodriguez has been serving Tampa Bay since 1995 with hundreds of 5-star reviews. If you need a new AC system or any home repairs from Helene, they will work with insurance companies to get you taken care of quickly, expertly installed, of course, and a 1-year maintenance plan and 10-year warranty included on all AC units. 0% financing for 60 months. Contact them at thirdgenerationplumbing.com or 813-961-8024. That's 813-961-8024, thirdgenerationplumbing.com. So many of our Tampa Bay neighbors are finding out the hard way from Hurricane Helene that homeowners insurance does not cover flood damage. You must have flood insurance. It's a separate policy. Immediately call Italiano Insurance at 813-877-7799, and they will shop around to find the best policy before rates go up. Lock it in. Over 60% are underinsured in Florida, or you're not getting your discounts that you're entitled to. So do an insurance checkup at Italiano, and they could save you thousands of dollars. Italiano will make sure you're with a highly rated insurer, so there are no surprises in your time of need. Our hearts go out to all our neighbors devastated by Helene. These are the times we're proud to protect all the pieces of your life. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, voted number 3 People's Choice Award on Open Table. I want to thank all our loyal family of customers that have been enjoying our great traditional Italian dishes we make from scratch every day. It's a great family story we're proud of. Our family moved from Rimini, Italy in 1984. My dad, Caesar, started Donatello, and that's where I got the start in the restaurant business. I started Caffè Paradiso on South McDill in 1995, and we've been there ever since. From our traditional ossobuco, a veal slow roast for 4 hours, to our daily fresh catch, the Gruppo Paradiso, with a piccata sauce and lobster claw meat, homemade pasta like lasagna, farfalle salchicha, which is a bow tie pasta homemade with fresh sausage. Hold on a minute, JP's favorite.
I love it.
So come and have a glass of wine with me on South McDill. Get a reservation on Open Table and see all our 5-star reviews. Ciao, see you soon at Paradiso.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. We're coming to you live from the Jeeves Law Group studio here in beautiful South Tampa. They have offices in South Tampa and in St. Petersburg. The Jeeves Law Group supports a lot of your local charities as well. So why go with a big national firm when you go with a local firm that will make you a priority? It's the Jeeves Law Group. If you've been involved in an accident, hit them up, JEEVES lawgroup.com. I'm struggling here, Nick. Don't have the energy I normally do, but we're getting through it.
We're almost there. We're almost there.
All right. You want to get to some more of these? Oh, by the way, so you've seen on Twitter, especially, oh, the Eagles aren't going to the White House, blah, blah. They've rejected an offer, blah, blah, blah. Well, according to Clay Travis, who called the White House, and those people in the White House, they haven't even been extended an invite yet. And there has not been an official invite nor an official rejection. So they may reject it in the end, but it has not been done officially yet.
Well, the problem is that there's this guy on social media. I'm sure you see his account all the time. This Dov Kleiman dude who's not really a real dude or somewhat. I don't know. There's some scandal there. And he'll just steal people's content and just throw it up there on his account, and then he'll like tag like where it came from. But like when I say tag where it came from, he'll maybe just mention the publication. There's no link to anything. Like you don't really know. It takes on a life of its own. And I don't just mean for this story. This happens like every day with the stuff he posts, and it drives me up a wall as someone who's in media. So that's just pointing out. But continue.
Yeah. So we'll see. It's like I really don't. Do you care? Like, I know this became a tradition.
I don't think anybody really cares about these things unless it's like you're a fan of that team, I guess. Like, it's cool. Like, it's really not a big deal, though, at all.
Well, obviously, it's to, throw egg on what Trump is doing. But it's like, so they polled all the Eagles players and the staff and everybody already, and nobody wants to go to the White House. I find that very hard to believe. The election would suggest that that's not necessarily true. But, let's see how many cowards there are there. Who's going to speak up? Who's got the balls to speak up? We'll see. Buckin says he's not going to get it, but Vasy should be in serious talks for Vezina. If he keeps it up like this, he has been closing in on Hellebuck's numbers.
He'll be a finalist, but Hellebuck has had this thing wrapped. Unless Hellebuck has some like crazy fall off in the next couple months, it's his. He might win the MVP, to be honest.
John Hill asked a very serious question, maybe the most serious question we'll deal with today. Hooters filing for bankruptcy could impact Hooters girls at Valspar? I don't think so. No, there's no way.
I want to know why Hooters is filing. I mean, how do we?
Because you can't pay kitchen staff $20 an hour and make money doing that kind of business. That's the minimum wage has crushed these smaller type restaurants.
Yeah, because
a lot of those jobs are not necessarily to be the breadwinner of the household. It's just to bring some money. You get servers and everybody's making $15, $20 an hour. You're going to have to charge $30 for a hamburger. So everything's out of whack with the restaurants. It's whack, but hopefully they can fix all that stuff. I don't know if they can, but I mean, where are we going to eat, for God's sakes? How do you take Hooters out of this? My God, what are we doing?
I mean, have you seen the price? I mean, yeah, Hooters has had like that. This is like not just them, but like wings everywhere in general are like through the roof everywhere. Yeah. Like, and I mean, like it'll be like 8 wings, and they'll be asking like $16 for it. I'm like, are you crazy? It's not even worth it.
Cheaper to get a fillet.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was another one on here from a podcast that I wanted to get to. Oh, the Back It Up Binge podcast. Is there really any big interest in Rays baseball? I always see the stadium as empty. Well, I'm not sure where these guys are from, but yeah, this has always been the national narrative. It's when you turn on the TV, that's what you see. And everybody naturally just blames the fans, the playoffs and all that other stuff. It's just, when you have an owner that nobody wants to support and a terrible stadium, in my opinion, and a terrible location, this is what you get. Incredibly boring team, all that. So I think from the outside looking in, but God, I'm sorry, I'm getting major reflux here. I apologize. But there's just everything has been done wrong in this Tampa Bay market. And that's why we're hopeful that we can finally do it right, the right way. The challenge system. We didn't talk about that. Did you see that? The balls and strikes challenge system. The first game.
Sorry, can you hear me? My Wi-Fi like cut out there for a second, so I missed the last part of your answer. So I was just gonna say to that question about the Rays and like, are they even popular? I don't know if you had mentioned it because I couldn't hear, like I just said. The TV ratings and the radio ratings suggest they are very popular.
Yeah,
very popular. Okay. But anyway, you were asking about the automated ball strike system, right?
Yeah. It's funny. I saw I don't know who asked for the challenge, because the players can ask for the challenge, right? The pitcher, the catcher.
Yeah. I don't know the like if it's like unlimited throughout the game, or if there's like
2 challenges.
2 challenges, right? But yeah, I saw some of it this week, and I think it's probably one of those things where the purists of the game, or maybe not even. Actually, I really haven't seen too much blowback to this, because I think there's been so many missed calls just at balls and strikes that have just grinded everybody's gears for years, that I feel like everybody's just come to the point where it's like, all right, enough with the human element thing. We rather would just have the call be correct, so we're all not losing our minds when we're watching the game. So let's put this in play. They say that they've been doing this in the minors, and nobody's even noticed it anymore. So I'm okay with it. The baseball purist in me would love to go after this one, but I don't really think I can at the moment. And as with all changes in baseball, eventually after a year or a few months or whatever, we probably won't even notice it.
Mm-hmm. That's true. All right, I wanted to get to the John Cooper presser from last night. You want to pop that up? It's 8 minutes long, but I think it's really some interesting stuff there.
This is the audio. It's the audio version. So
okay,
but we will play it here.
Leave our mics open for snarky comments if we can. If not, that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It takes a sec to get going here, so you could set it up here as it.
So Coop, last night he had a lot to say about the Four Nations and his team bouncing back. So obviously this is the first real public time we got a chance to hear from him about the Four Nations, and boy, there was a lot of pressure on him to win that. By the way,
did you miss me? Since I've been gone with myself. Anti.
Diplomatic.
All right. What do we got?
What was it like, first of all, watching Hagel?
Question about Hagel making that huge play after being sick, leaving it all out there for the Four Nations.
Well, the thing is, when you're going to coach for your country, and then you have players on your own team playing for your country, and so you're always obviously pulling for them to do well. I mean, you don't want anybody to come back from that tournament and be like, well, should they have been on the team? Shouldn't they not have been on the team? And I think it was pretty clear. And I will include, Genzel and Hedman, but, especially the three guys that played for Canada did more than hold their own, let alone Braden Point was, didn't start playing with Connor McDavid, but finished playing with Connor McDavid. And, Hagel and Cirelli were instrumental on our penalty kill, and then so many other things that happened in that tournament. And so it was, I was so pumped for them that they not only played well, and then, come back here and there's no rest for the weary. You got to jump right in to hockey. Thank goodness we had at least one day before the league started, before we got to play tonight. And, there was a kind of a bug going around. It went around the tournament, and, guys were in and out sick. That's how we lost Josh Morrissey. And, then Hags picked it up here, so I wasn't even sure he was going to play tonight. And then he gave the performance he did. So it's credit to him and just his will and want to win hockey games for either, whether it's the Bolts or Team Canada. Hold on, you can't walk in late and get the second question. Zero chance that's happening. I have no idea what the second question. Zero chance, but you walked in. You know you walked in late.
I did, of course. Okay. Radio response.
All right, we'll give you 4.
I can hold off. If I have to wait my turn, I'll wait my turn. Coops back.
Cooper's
very All right, who's
Jeff. For the team, after having not playing games as a team for 2 weeks, what did it take to kind of? And it's obviously different circumstances. Some guys being off, obviously a lot of the other guys playing. What did it take for you guys to get 2 points tonight?
Well, it's tough because you look at yesterday's scores, and there was monster games or monster numbers put on the board. There were 8s and 7s and blowouts, and so you just don't know what to expect. And some teams, got tons of rest, had nobody playing in the tournament, or one guy, and teams like us had 4 in the finals. And so you're worried about those guys and how they're going to play, because they've played, but again, the emotional gymnastics you go through in one of those tournaments is huge, and you want them to have a break as well. And so I could tell our guys were fresh, and I was worried about the tournament players, and they delivered tonight, and you wanted that game under your belt, and it was tough. Even though we were playing Seattle on a back-to-back, they got to play the day before, and I felt probably we're a little bit more in sync than we were, especially early on.
Obviously, some of the rested guys might need a shift or two to kind of warm up. The goalie doesn't necessarily have that opportunity, but how did you feel about, how did you feel about how Vasilevsky felt playing 4 and 6 before the break and then having the break and just coming out?
Yeah, so if there's one guy that needs, or one position player that needs the rest, it's the goalie. And just because also you're talking about the mental side of things, let alone the physical side. And Vasy played 4-6 in a back-to-back and won them all for us. And we needed him in those last 2. And so, to me, I was glad he got the break. And you could see tonight he was really dialed in, and hopefully this continues.
John, you mentioned no rest for the weary and emotions and all that, but that applies to you too. You only had one day, so how was it for you to turn the page?
Excuse me. It's been tough. I'm not gonna lie, because the preparation going into Four Nations was more than just showing up at the tournament. I mean, it was been a year in the making and months of work and preparation, and then to have to play 4 and 6, 2 and back to back on the road, and just walk right in and go from one team to the other in 2 hours. That's basically what happened, and then you were just like 7 a.m. bus the next day, and we were off to practice, and so it was an exhilarating 10 days. And I think if I sat and was trying to dream up what that tournament was going to be like in my wildest dreams, I would have never thought it exceeded it. But there is a coming down period, and you win and you're with your group and you're having fun, and the next morning everybody's gone. And so it was, it had to definitely take a couple days and digest, and coming here, because this is the first time I saw the guys was today, and it was I don't know, it was like coming home, and so it was really cool to see all the boys, and I'm glad they gave me a good effort tonight. I didn't want to have to stress.
Eric, your team here over the last little while has had a lot of games where you've had to be patient, right? You've had a lot of 0-0 games after the first period, and somebody makes a play after. Like, how much does that teach a team to be patient, to stay patient, and don't? I think Ryan McDonough used the phrase, "No one needs to go rogue."
Yeah,
make sure that he stays within the concept.
I think for us to have success, and why we've had success of late, is we're not, we would have a tendency to try and manufacture something out of nothing, and that was our goal. It's like just score. And I think as our game is kind of rounded out, we're a much more level-headed team, understanding that, a bunch of your shifts are going to be ties, and that it's okay. And then get some wins and make sure those wins are more than your losses. And the boys have really kind of that sunk in with them, and so that was tricky early in this game because we were a little bit risky, but as the game went on we were less and less risky, and in the end you get the lead, you don't need any more, you want to get more, but it's making sure we don't give anything up, and the guys did a pretty good job with that tonight.
All right, there was a little bit of John Cooper from last night, and obviously he took a lot of questions about the big win over the Kraken, but also of the Four Nations, and just sort of summing up what those 10 days were like. And I think he did a pretty good job, as he always does, of sort of highlighting some of the big moments and the energy in the building and everything. As we welcome JP back to the broadcast here. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you. Needed.
Just wrapped up Cooper's audio right there. And I was just mentioning, because he talked a lot about the Four Nations final. I know that happened last Thursday. Hard to believe already. It's been like 4 days. But I know you were off on Friday, so you didn't really get a chance to talk about that game. And I was just going to mention, that game ended up going on to draw 9.3 million viewers on ESPN, making it the most watched in America. If you combine the Canadian numbers, it was past 16 million. Which, if you combine just the 9.3 million viewers here in America, highest viewed NHL game ever, surpassing 2019 Bruins Game 7 between the Blues and the Stanley Cup Final. It still is well short of the 2010 Olympic gold medal game between the U.S. and Canada, which had 27.6 million people watching. But of course, that was on NBC, and that was also the Olympics. And again, the Olympics are coming back next year. So if we get this matchup again, who knows what could happen? I mean, I just wonder what could have happened if they had put this game on ABC, what the numbers could have been. It certainly, I think, could have been more than 9.3 million, but we'll still take this as a win for the NHL.
Huge week for the NHL, no question about it. And, the game itself was, I thought, fantastic. Of course, it rarely lives up to the hype when something's hyped that much. But I thought the U.S. played really well. And they're just a hair away from winning that game with Austin Matthews in overtime. Bennington played great, but he barely got a glove on that one. It just tickled over the top of the goal. Who else had it had 4 or 5 great overtime chances. And then Matthews just leaves David like wide open in the slot. He's getting crushed, by the way.
He's getting crushed, by the way. And I think given like his output in Toronto as a player, I mean, at this point, now almost a decade into his career, and the inability to win anything there of note outside of one playoff series, and you're the captain of Team USA, which looks like the best Team USA team ever put together before. You're the captain. You're expected to perform. And I watch all these games, and it's easy to see the difference that McDavid makes in the game. It's easy to see the difference that Nathan McKinnon, and maybe it's unfair to compare Matthews to them, but I don't think it is, because we always throw Matthews in that tier, right?
Right, absolutely.
Those two guys, it felt like even on Thursday when McDavid admittedly was not playing a great game, or in the first game against the Americans where McKinnon was really quiet, you still know at any given moment, those two guys have the ability to take over the game, unlike anybody else in the NHL.
Yep.
And in that game, I wasn't even expecting Austin Matthews to make the play for the Americans. I never thought it was going to come from him.
Oh, I thought it'd be Gensel.
The best player on the ice was Gensel for Team USA. And I don't mean that from a bragging way or anything, or a biased way. I think that's true. Gensel, to me, had the most jump, and he had a lot of scoring opportunities. He set up Matthews perfectly for the chance at overtime. So I think your best player has to be your best player in those big moments. McDavid was the same way Crosby was 15 years ago when these two teams met in the Olympic final, and Austin Matthews wasn't. Jack Hughes is probably the second most talented forward the team has. He was nowhere to be found, missing in action the entire tournament. And then, of course, Tkachuk not playing was a big deal. I don't even know if there was one. McAvoy not playing was a big deal, but Tkachuk, and I didn't understand this. I know Tkachuk really wanted to play, and I give him credit for trying to get out there. But if he played 5 minutes, you had to play without a forward the rest of the game. And it's like Kyle Connor's a guy who scored 50 goals in this league, who we scratched. And so I think there might have been a misstep there. But even then, I felt the USA outplayed them in both games. And like you said, it could have gone either way.
Well, let's not forget the USA outscored them in the two games.
Right.
And you combine the scores. I know it was a championship game. I get it. It's overtime. But these, the Canadians crowing like they're still so far ahead of American hockey, I think is a little misguided.
No, what it is now, it's a coin toss.
It is a coin toss.
USA and America in hockey now is a coin toss. That's what it is.
And of course the Russians will have something to say about that. But if we get this in the Olympics next year, and we already had some of the USA guys saying, all right, we'll see in the Olympics.
Can the Russians even play in the Olympics yet? I know Bettman said that their status won't change for 2028 for the World Cup of hockey until the political stuff is figured out. So I'm not even sure where we stand with Russians right now.
Hopefully it'll be figured out for sports anyway. Hopefully it'll be figured out. All right, let's take one more break. We'll come back and finish things up here on the JP Peterson Show. A couple things coming up for the Bucs this week. The Combine, what are they looking at? We will discuss when we come back. Stay with us. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man Scott Jeeves, who lives right here and has long been a highly respected member of our community. He's a proud sponsor of the Tampa Riverwalk. Jeeves Law Group is also a proud sponsor of our Grand Central District in St. Pete and has neighborhood events throughout the year. He has an office on Central Avenue in St. Pete and one on South Howard in Tampa. You can't get more local than that. So when you need an attorney, you're going to hire some huge firm that advertises all over the state or the one that supports your favorite sports show. It's the Jeeves Law Group. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. For personal injury and personal attention, call us for a free case evaluation. That's 8889-JEEVES. That's 8889-JEEVES. Hey, JP here for my personal concierge medical professional, Chris Lugo, PA. Yeah, he's been on the show for the last couple of years, but this is kind of a new deal, and only a limited amount of you can get involved with this personal concierge service. And what I love about it, you can text or call him 24/7 with any questions or concerns, and he'll promptly call in a prescription if needed. No office visits or copays required. And Chris emphasizes a healthy lifestyle to help prevent illness. But when I do need assistance, he's always available. From nutrition guidance to supplement recommendations and workout advice, his expertise is a game changer. Plus, as a medical provider for the National Guard, he stays up to date on the latest health trends and practices, steering clear of the outdated conventional medicine that often relies on unnecessary prescriptions. And the best part, Bay Area Modern Medical Center's personal concierge service is more affordable than you might think. Visit BAMMC.com for more information and to schedule your initial free consultation. Empower yourself. Take charge of your personal health with BAMMC.com. Hey guys, February's birthstone is amethyst, a stunning purple gem that symbolizes peace, protection, tranquility, and sincerity. Celebrate her birthday or your 6th and 17th wedding anniversaries with an unforgettable amethyst gift. And of course, for over 40 years, the Gold and Diamond Source has been Tampa Bay's most trusted name in fine jewelry. We only sell natural diamonds. If it's real love, it should be a real natural diamond. Don't get a fake. The Gold and Diamond Source first-time buyer program will help you learn about the 4 C's, what style, shape, and color works best for you and your unique style. Folks, it's the best customer service. They make it so easy for you, and they're not going to push you into something that you cannot afford. 0% financing for up to 5 years. If you finance $5,000, it's only $83 a month. Also, you can turn your old unused gold into cash or a stunning new piece. With gold prices soaring, there's no better time to trade up. So get that old jewelry and bring it on in. You know where, the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Overton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here on this very interesting Monday. Hope you guys caught the top of the show today where we went over all the Rays stuff. Playing hurt today. Dealing with a little neurovirus. So fun. So fun. By the way, I tell you about the concierge service of Chris Lugo. So I'm basically dying last night and 4:30 in the morning. And I'm like,
yeah, you're sending messages out at 4:30 in the morning. It's true.
I had nothing else to do. I can't sleep. I'm just grabbing throne. So I'm like, you know what? I need to text Lugo. So I text him at 4:30 in the morning. Dude texts me back at 5:30 in the morning. Says, I sent you a script. Go pick it up in the morning. How about that? How about that? And it's, and you go get the nausea medicine, and which I couldn't get till after the show. So I'm going to go grab that. But to have someone at your beck and call that can do that right away. So I'll go grab it at the end of the show. It'll be waiting for me. That's great. I don't have to go into it. Emergency care, urgent care. Don't have to go to office. Don't have to copay. Don't have to do any of that. That's the concierge service you get at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. All right. So the combine begins this week. The Bucs are headed up there looking for an edge rusher. Did you see Mike Green's numbers on the Bruce Feldman 2024 freak list? 4.57 40-yard dash. By the way, he's 6'3", 250 pounds. 405-pound bench press. 365 power clean. That's a lot if you don't know. 125-pound squat. And the dude had 17 sacks and 23 tackles for loss last year against Marshall and absolutely dominated at the Senior Bowl. Pro Football Focus, highest defense grade of the season, 92.4. That is pretty damn good. I don't know if he'll be there when the Bucs pick at 19. Hopefully he has a bad combine because
I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. So I don't know if he's going to be there, but he's projected to go around 12, 13, 14, 15. That's possible move up territory if you're so inclined.
Is it just me and I guess we'll see how the board ends up falling, but I'm not I think the Bucs need a pass rusher. Yes. But I don't know if I want to take one in the first round. I don't know. I'm almost not against that. I feel like the Bucs have done that before. I feel like they need a proven guy that comes in day one and is that, and we've already mentioned the names that are out there and everything. And I guess the question is, are the Bucs willing to make a swing like that? I think they should be. For a free agent or somebody on the trade market, because I think there's a lot of guys who could be available. To me, that's the route I would go. I think first round, you're looking at corner for sure. If you trade back a little bit in the first round, which I love trading back, and I've played around with the simulators and everything that PFF has out there where you can get a sort of a lay of the landscape and seeing who's going to be there at 19 potentially. And of course, this is all hypothetical, But I've played around with it a little bit, and I feel like if you move back, you acquire more capital. You're able to target more positions later with that capital, and you can move down and maybe get a linebacker at the end of the first round or a corner or whatever. Like, I like the idea of doing that, but first round edge rusher is one of those things that maybe, I don't know if that's a hot take, but I would like to see the Bucs go in a different direction.
Well, you don't want to reach. You don't want to reach. I don't think Mike Green will be a reach at 19. But you might, if you move up, you might be a reach at 12 or something. But there's Shamar Stewart, Texas A&M, 6'5", 281, that people see as maybe a better fit in this defense because he can play the run a little bit more.
I don't like it. I don't like that he's a project.
Yeah, a little bit.
One and a half sacks.
Yeah, that's true. But we need somebody to set the edge. That's for sure too. Mikael Williams, 6'5", 265 out of Georgia. Again, more of a project. So yeah, I get you. I definitely think they should get a proven pass rusher in free agency. And then I would also draft more of a project. And I would do it in the first round. I think it's that much of a need. But you got to get a corner too. Not a great draft for corners though.
The interesting thing is, I mean, they always say, like, when you go into the draft, you should take best player available, right? Don't try to go targeting positions. And I feel like the Bucs did that with Kancey, right, in 2023. And I think everyone would tell you that they made the right move going with Kalijah Kancey.
Same with, Graham Barton fit both of them.
Yeah, he fit both of them for sure. I saw there was a mock going around this weekend. I can't remember exactly who had it, but all Bucs fans were talking about it over the weekend on social media. And it had the Bucs taking Tet McMillan at 19. And again, for those who aren't familiar, that's the receiver from Arizona who probably is the number one receiver in the draft. They had him falling to 19 to the Bucs.
So now, that means you're not re-signing Godwin.
That's the question.
Yeah.
Let's say that the Bucs re-sign Chris Godwin. 19's up, and that played out that way. Tet McMillan's sitting there. It's like, do you potentially pass on what would be the best player available at that position, a guy who has potential to be a number one in this league, knowing that his play style is more similar to Mike, and Mike is obviously getting up there in age, and you want to have that replacement ready? Like, does that intrigue you at all?
It does, but yeah, God, you need an inside linebacker, you need a corner, you need a safety, and you need an edge rusher. I don't need offense. We're fourth in the league in offense. I get it.
Even that tight end from Michigan, Loveland, like, damn, man. Like, I know everybody's all on Tyler Warren and everything. I think Loveland's the tight end one. And I just see, like, the best teams in the league typically have an absolute game changer at tight end.
Yeah.
I don't know if Otten's a game changer. I think he's taking strides. But I mean, like, an absolute game changer. I think Loveland has that potential. So there are certain picks I would make on offense if they were there. Certain ones.
All right, we're going to do much more in the combine tomorrow. Believe Scott Reynolds is going to join us. We'll check in with him. They're at the combine, Peter Report, so we'll see if he's available tomorrow. We'll get much more into the Buccaneers. Thank you guys for joining us today. I know we had a lot of new look-ins today, so hopefully you enjoyed the show. We do it each and every day, 10 to 12, Tampa Bay Sports-Centric Sports. Check us out on X, on Facebook, on Twitter. Great job, Nick. I made it through just in time. So we will see you tomorrow.